when I lived with Jay, I would just be so tired sometimes that I would just fall asleep at like 6:30.
You would.
I would wake up at like 10 and I would have no idea where I was or who I was. And I would be sweating and I would have a little bit of a headache. It was awful.
That's a lot.
Trace had such an odd sleep schedule. But also one where he just ultimately listened to his body. If his body goes, I'm tired, he goes, okay, well, can't fight nature, I guess.
Can't. Guess I am.
My favorite thing is the one time where Trace had seen Patterson, talked about it for 2 months, and then it finally came out on DVD or whatever, or on Amazon Prime, and he rented it, and he was like, Jay, let's watch Patterson. I climb in his bed, which is super comfy. It's 8 o'clock. He turns out the light, and I fall asleep.
Why are y'all watching the movie in his bedroom?
I don't know.
Because my room had the disc player, whatever disc player we were using, I think.
You didn't have like a console in the living room, or was that always just my PS4?
I don't know. Oh, I think because you rented it on your PlayStation.
Oh, okay.
And all the TVs were the same size, so I guess it didn't really matter.
Yeah. But Jay just got too comfy and passed out.
Hey, that's me at this point. 25, your life starts just leaving you. Anyway, what is up, Internet, and welcome to your Obligatory Movie Podcast, a stereotypical show where 3 20-somethings come together to record themselves talk about movies as a flimsy excuse to talk to each other. As always, I'm your buddy, your friend, your pal, your fleet admiral, John Romo, and I'm joined by the Chippendale of Cinema, Trace Zathura. And who's that? Who's that second guy? Well, of course it's Taylor Dvorsky. There he is.
Yay, I'm finally celebrated.
I really thought you were just going to leave him out of it and not mention his name.
For a second, I was like, oh, this dick.
For those who aren't in the know, this is just, as I said, a show where us three come together to talk about movies, with each week, the second half of our show, being a deeper dive into one particular movie, which this week is going to be Zathura, based off Trace's pick, which brings us to the crux of the show, is that each week that film is selected because it is tangentially related to the previous week's film. We got to Zathura how, guys? I don't remember.
By way of Drive.
By way of Drive. If I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't remember what the connection was. I think it might be the costume.
I think it's one of the Zorgons in this movie is actually in Drive, because I think I remember seeing someone when I was trying to find options.
In all fairness, I think this is a case for my let's make it clearly distinguishable argument.
Shut the fuck up.
Because you can't even remember what the connection was.
But I know it exists. I mean, I'll sit here and try to find it for y'all.
It was your girlfriend who picked this one, though.
Yeah.
Oh, she did pick this one.
Did she tell you what the connection is?
Yeah, I mean, I said it on the show last week, but I don't...
I guess you'll just have to all go listen to last week's show.
No, I want to know, though. I want to know what this connection was.
Hey, babe. Do you remember what connected Drive and Zathura? She said, hang on.
Well, while we try and solve that puzzle, I'm just going to go ahead and throw my two options out there. Taking a cue from Trace, I've actually also let my wife throw an option in the ring. So, my two options, based off one, Mr. Joss Hutcherson. He is also in American Splendor. And the other choice is from a Miss Kristen Stewart. She is also Into the Wild. So there's your two options. Into the Wild, starring Emile Hirsch, and American Splendor, starring Paul Giamatti.
I don't even know what American Splendor is.
I don't know what that is either.
It's like somehow comic book related. I checked Rotten Tomatoes, and apparently it's pretty good. I know what Into the Wild is.
Yeah, I've read the book of... Ooh, wow, this is very well reviewed.
Wait, that's a book?
Into the Wild?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. I know it's one of those Garden State-ass movies. And I've never seen Garden State either, so...
I don't know if that's wholly accurate, but yeah, it's like it's like a nonfiction like biography.
Do you like how I just compare movies when I've seen neither of them?
Yeah, how did you get to that comparison?
I don't know. There's a
don't
sad
know.
white boy on the cover.
Okay, wait. Here's the other defining factor. Let's go to justwatch.com.
Into the Wild is on Netflix, I think, and Amazon Prime. And then American Splendor is maybe HBO, but I don't think so. That one might be the rental.
That is on HBO Go, yes. So that one's on HBO, and then Into the Wild, you're correct. I have seen on Netflix.
I picked the Netflix one.
And it's on Prime, yeah, and Netflix, so that one's readily available. So American Splendor sounds interesting, because I've never seen it, and I even heard of it until this point, but I've also never seen Into the Wild, and I have read that book. So I'm voting Into the Wild.
I'm just for the cause of saving money.
Into the Wild. That was my pick. So there you go, folks. Next week, we will be watching Into the Wild. Tracy got an update on that whole...
Okay, yeah, y'all were right. Jay was right. Yeah, it's the guy that plays the chauffeur in John Wick is one of the Zorgons.
Wait.
Oh, I mean, in
Drive?
Yeah, in Drive. I'm thinking of John.
The chauffeur that drives Ryan Gosling everywhere.
Yes. He's one of the Zorgons in Zathura, and that is how we got there.
There's a very small cast in Zathura, and I know we'll talk about it in the second half, but there's a very small cast in Zathura, and it made for a lot of good connections. Like Frank Oz is a voice in this thing, and there were so many Muppet things I could have picked, or Star Wars, but no Star Wars movies are really easily available except for the most recent two.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to fucking pay for a movie if I don't need to.
Which, come on, we could have watched Last Jedi.
I really like Case, too.
I did think about picking Personal Shopper, but it wasn't available anywhere.
Personal Shopper is so good.
It's very good. It's a very good movie. Done Clouds of Sos Maria, because I haven't seen that one.
That movie is such a good clinic on acting that I don't enjoy watching.
Damn, I still need to see that.
But before we can get into that, talking about the legacy of K-Stew and Zathura, we've got to go through what we've been watching this week, boys. And as always, Trace has seen the most. So Trace, just go ahead. Just do it.
All right.
Well, I'm sorry. What was your pre-recording goof that you were saying, Jay? I feel like you were being a little. What was your line? Why did you say that Trace has always watched so many things?
I don't know why Trace has been watching so many things. I had a question of, do you not want to do anything else? But then he also did go to like multiple concerts this week. Yeah, I think he just has more energy than us because I don't have the energy to do two things in one day.
Yeah, I normally watch stuff like more on the weekends, but like I was actually completely out of town this whole weekend. I was a bit of a seaman. I lived on a boat for the weekend.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your boat adventures.
Yeah, what happened?
I recorded music in San Francisco.
On a boat?
Not in the boat, no.
Oh.
Not a yacht rock band.
Yacht rock, that's good.
It's apparently a thing. No, but I recorded music, and so our singer, we stayed on his uncle's sailboat.
Just 'cause?
I mean, we didn't want to pay to stay somewhere, so this was free.
Hold on. His uncle has a sailboat, but he doesn't have a big enough house to house you boys? It just seems like you should have a pretty big house if you own a sailboat.
His uncle is a minimalist. Like, no kidding. Like, no shit.
That's awesome.
So
I love that.
Doesn't actually have like a big living space at all.
Sweet.
But he owns a boat.
On the boat, did you have like a bed?
Yeah, there were like four different. Yeah, there were like four different like small cabins that had beds. So we each had a bed.
That's dope.
It was actually very cold though, because we didn't have a heater, and it was like down in the Bay Area, like right by the ocean. So it was very cold.
I would have been too scared I was going to wake up and be underwater.
I'm actually surprised. I did better than I thought because I'm claustrophobic, and also I do have a fear of drowning.
Oh, so these two things combined should have been very awful for you.
Yeah, surprisingly, I did okay.
Huh.
Wow.
Maybe it's the fresh air. Maybe we all just need a little fresh air. Oh, update. I forgot to say. The cupping class went well.
Oh, what was it?
Again, what was it?
So we walk into this little room, like where they do all the stuff, and it opens up with just about 8 to 10 different types of coffee, like ground up. Or in some cases, they were just the beans, and we're kind of smelling them. pre-bean or pre-grind, and then post-grind, and then post-punk, and then
That's my favorite genre.
And then she pours water into it, and we smell it when it's like right after it's being soaked in the beans, and then
the beans have been soaked.
The beans have been soaked, and then we break the seal of like when the coffee grounds soak up in the water, they create this like white foam, and we kind of skimmed it back and pushed it forward and smelt it and sipped it like wine. It was dope.
Sounds like you and those beans got nasty.
You know, we got intimate.
This sounds like there was some real artistry at work going on here.
Yeah, I don't think everyone there appreciated it, but I asked the lady a lot of questions.
I appreciate it. I'm better than them.
I would love to do something with coffee. I don't know what. Maybe a show. I don't know.
A show.
TM.
Like another podcast?
I don't know. Just something.
Or like a live performance. Like a concert.
No, it's just a one-man show of me making coffee.
And Jay walks out on the stage. Hey, everybody. And just starts making coffee. This is dark roast. This is regular roast.
I said one more. I need one more roast in there.
This is light roast.
There we go.
And that's all the roasts.
There you go.
They've never made any more coffee. They just stopped it there. It's like, oh, we did too good. We got the dark, we got the regular, we got the light. No room for improvement here.
This is it. Before I go into what I watched this week, Jay mentioned that I went to a concert, and that's true. I went to a concert last night, and it was for Caro Bonito, aka KKB, and it was at this really small bar in Atlanta called the 529. I'm pretty sure there had to be like maybe 200 people there, and it was awesome. It was a great concert. I don't know. Like, for some reason, a mosh pit opened up during the last song, and I know Jay knows KKB, or at least he knows what these sound like. Mm-hmm. So he knows this is a weird thing, right?
Yeah, but I kind of like that. I kind of like that. Crowds just kind of agree. Nah, let's just do it once. Because I feel like now at this point, mosh pits are really just energy-wise. It doesn't even have to be angry songs all the time.
Yeah.
I think mosh pits are just like a thing people like to do now.
Yeah, which, like, I mean, KKB's new album has some heavy elements to it. It's very much more of a rock album, and so this concert, they reinterpreted all their songs to be rock songs. Which usually they would just play with laptops and, like, electronics and stuff, but now they have a full band. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, the crowd was fucking into it. Everyone was like,
just I gotta check this album out.
You should listen to Only Acting. That's a good song. It sounds like Death Grips. It's really scary. But yeah, it's. But other than that, I did see a bunch of movies. First of all, I saw The Sisters Brothers, the new John C. Reilly, Joaquin Phoenix, Jake Gyllenhaal, Riz Ahmed film that's in theaters right now. And I was surprised that I did not care for it very much. This movie just really didn't do anything for me. I was like, it's a very thinly plotted movie. It's a very dry, slow movie. And I just really did not get much out of it. The characters did not connect with me at all. Nothing about it felt fleshed out enough for me to want to give a shit about anything what was going on. Once again, I thought it was too long. It only runs about 2 hours, but it just feels so slow and plodding. And I felt like it really had no sense of identity about itself, that I just could not get into this movie at all.
The vibe I haven't seen it, and I frankly wasn't planning to, but the vibe I was getting from the trailer is like I couldn't figure out what it was trying to be tonally.
I couldn't figure it out during the movie.
Just like the whole, like, the Sisters Brothers and John C. Reilly, and I'm just like, okay, this is like a buddy comedy, right? And then, like, you watch the trailer, and it's
Yeah,
Seems like it's like a dramatic Western with some comedic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much not a buddy comedy, but then again, I wouldn't say it has the chops to be a dramatic Western either, or at least it doesn't carry itself in that way. It seems like it's very lost as to what it wants to be. And by the time we got to the end of the movie, I just could not figure out what I was supposed to get out of this or what the point of the plot was or why I was supposed to care about anybody on screen, or I really got nothing out of this movie. That's really all that is for me. I also watched Hold the Dark, which I won't spend too much time on because I know Taylor talked about this a few episodes ago, and really I'm just going to be repeating his thoughts. I thought this was pretty insufferable, honestly. It's just a lot of like self-serious, slow, brooding, I feel like for the past few years we've been getting these movies that are these self-serious, like kind of pretentious winter snow movies. This is the only way I know how to describe them, which would be The Revenant, which I did not care for either, and that Jeremy Renner movie that came out last year that I did not care about either.
Of these three, I do actually like Wind River.
I feel the exact same about all three of these movies in that they all just feel so completely empty to me, and that they feel like they only exist just to try to be this very serious, like somber piece of art cinema, but nothing in any of them have anything worthwhile or significant, like to make anything about it important. And everyone, specifically with Hold the Dark, I thought everyone in this movie was doing a really bad job, acting wise. Yeah, or at least it's in that tone of these movies where they're all just mumbling something very serious.
Everyone's somber. Everyone's just, it's very serious. It's very, well, my biggest thing with the movie is like, it's just cold.
Yes.
The tone of the film and the way it kind of reacts to the viewer almost feels the same as the environment, effectively. Like, it's just so cold.
Yeah. And it's covering those themes that these movies like to cover about violence and animals and humanity and what does it all mean and why are we here? But nothing in this movie is important. Like this it's just boring, honestly. This movie was so boring I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's just it's boring. Unfortunately, it's just pretty boring.
There's a cool shootout at the midway point, but particularly everything after that, I was so checked out that I could not wait for this to end. And this is like a really sad step down from Green Room for Jeremy Saulnier.
Hey, listen, best snow movie this decade is Liam Neeson's The Gray, so...
You know, no one talks about The Gray anymore.
It's good!
It is good. I like that movie.
That is a good movie. Liam Neeson's very good in it.
Snow can be a fun place, guys. Y'all seen Frosty the Snowman? It can be fun. And The Gray's fun because we beat those wolves.
And y'all seen Jack Frost with Michael Keaton?
Oh, no, that's terrifying. Yes. That's not fun. That's scary.
We should watch that movie for this show. That'd be a great watch. Christmas episode's coming up, fellas. We already missed the opportunity for our Halloween episode, by the way.
I was gonna pick Friday the 13th, the remake, because it had a relation. I was trying to figure out how to make us watch Halloween. But by the time next week's episode came out, it would have been November, and that would have just been late.
Yeah, so Zathura is scary enough.
Hey, it's got some spooks. We'll talk about it later.
It actually does. Next movie I watched was Miss 45, which is a movie from 1981 directed by Abel, Taylor, maybe you know, Ferrara?
Miss Ferrari. Vroom, vroom.
So, I think so, yes.
Yeah. It's the first movie of his I've ever seen. And I found it on Shudder, and I had seen a lot of people that I follow on Letterboxd have given it pretty high praise. And so I decided to check it out, and yeah, this is a very good movie. Just a really really just like a short blast of energy, really like down and dirty exploitation movie. But it also has some really like forward thinking and interesting social politics for the time, especially being directed and written by men. Because if you don't know the plot, it's pretty heavy, and I mean, this is a light show, so we won't get too into it, but it is about a woman, a mute woman who gets raped twice in one day. And so she begins to go around murdering men trying to pick her up and generally acting in an unsavory way, with a .45 caliber pistol. And so, like, a rape revenge movie, like, directed and written by men seems like it could go very wrong. But this is actually a very thoughtful movie, surprisingly, like, about taking control of that trauma and anguish and being able to use it against a system that's, like, beating you down like that. And then it's also just a really well-made violent exploitation movie with a really fantastic lead performance from, I think it's either Zoe or Zoe. I think it might be Zoe. Zoe Lund, who is completely silent for the whole movie because she's mute. But she does so much with her facial expressions. Like, her performance is unbelievably good. This is like one of the best performances I can remember seeing in any movie in a long time. And just really enjoyed this one. It's a good length too. It's only about 80 minutes. It knows like what it is and knows how long it needs to be here, and it knows what purpose it exists for, and it just really does its job really well.
I'll have to check this out because I've been wanting to check this movie out for a while now.
Yeah, it's a good one. I watched Haunters: The Art of the Scare, which another one that Taylor talked about. I think did you talk about this last week?
Like 2 weeks ago, I think.
That's how I knew about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, not much on this one. There's not much to say about it anyway. It's as a documentary, it's not very good, honestly.
It's not like it's really, you don't learn about anyone or anything really.
Yeah, it's very scatterbrained.
You just see some spooks.
Yeah, it's very all over the place. That being said,
and I have to wonder how the one guy hasn't been arrested.
Well, that's what I was getting into. I was so interested in him and whatever the fuck he was about. Like, he's an awful dude, and that place should be shut down immediately. But he's so interesting as a documentary subject that I was enthralled for the entire thing.
Wait, is this the guy that Taylor had mentioned, like, runs a haunted house that can, like, actually touch you?
So, it's way more than that. It's fucking, like, first of all, to even get to his haunted house, he Skype interviews you prior to make sure that you're good and to, like, see if you'll be able to do it.
You cool? Are you cool?
He's mostly interviewing to, like, see which people will be the least likely to cause a stir afterwards and not get him in trouble. And then you sign a bunch of waivers. And then, like, the shit that you go through in this thing, which can last apparently from, like, 3 to 6 or 7 hours or something like that, is just, like, ridiculous. And there's no safe word. If you say you want out, he will not let you out. You do not leave. But he, like... There was one part where someone got locked in a coffin. There was one part where someone, like, had a tarantula on their face, like an actual tarantula. Someone was, like, force-fed bugs.
Yeah, they show, like, people getting waterboarded.
Yeah, people get fucking waterboarded in it.
They show it?
Yes.
And, like, people get, like, grabbed and, like, actually, like, basically kidnapped, where they're, like, grabbed from something. Like, someone comes out of somewhere and, like, grabs them and takes them away.
Yeah. It's, like... It's fucking ridiculous.
Boys, I was driving in traffic today. It was raining, and I thought about how much work I had to do, and I had a panic attack. Who signs up for this horse shit?
Well, that's the thing. Is like people. I think a lot of people that sign up to do this thing don't realize like what it is, and they think they'll be able to handle it, and that it's probably just a more intense but overall regular ass haunted house. But it's not that at all. Like, it's very much not even a haunted house. It's just some guy, like, practically torturing people, honestly, and filming it the entire time to get good video footage.
How do the people feel after they've gone through it? Like,
fucking awful.
Okay.
There's footage of people, like, crying on the ground. And there's one woman that's interviewed in particular that is, like, scarred from it. And she's, like, their neighbor. And somehow she's gone through it multiple times. Because, like, the guy keeps tricking her into coming back. it's fucking insane. But he's very interesting for a documentary. So I was pretty interested.
I honestly
in the whole
could
thing.
have watched just a piece exclusively on him because he really is the most interesting subject.
He was almost pretty much like, yeah, everyone else seemed kind of like afterthoughts. But the thing about it was, I think the point was that even everyone else that was interviewed was like, no, that guy's fucking insane. Like, we're trying to have fun and make haunted houses, and I don't know what the fuck he's doing.
I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting that I haven't seen the movie, so I don't really know what his point is, but like to kind of dissect where it is that that disconnect happens for people, where it's not fun anymore, and to kind of see where people's limits are. And I mean, like, he can get away with it. He's not hurting them technically, right? Not purposefully? Or is he?
It seems like a pretty big gray area, honestly.
And it seems pretty purposeful.
Yeah, and like there were instances in the doc where it seemed like the police were kind of like getting involved too. At the very end, someone comes and like shuts it down, and then it's never really resolved after that. It was kind of a weird way to end it off. But yeah, I don't know. It's a interesting watch if you're into it.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, Taylor, did you have something else to say about it? It looks like you're looking something up.
I was just looking. I didn't realize it was up until this year in San Diego.
Yeah, they had to move it. I looked that up. Now it's like closer to where I am.
It's like in Nashville. They have a location in Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of locations.
There's like 2 locations.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I wonder how, because it's not. Oh, the thing they talked on in the documentary is that he to get in you have to donate dog food.
Oh yeah, it's free. You just have to give him dog food.
He also is like a greyhound adopter.
Yeah. So you just give him food for his dogs, and that's your ticket.
Your admission.
Yeah.
What the? Okay, I'm just gonna have to watch this at some point.
The dude's a wedding singer too. He goes to weddings and sings.
Okay.
You should watch this, Jay. Actually, I think you'll get a kick out of this dude.
Yeah.
He should be locked up though.
I would earnestly believe that I earnestly would believe that he gets off to this.
Yeah.
He's gotta.
Oh, Taylor, I was about to say, apparently his wife left him. The wife in the doc.
Oh, damn.
Apparently they're not together anymore, and I think it had something to do with the haunted house. But yeah, it's interesting.
Everything was fine until he started masturbating on one of the guests. Step too far.
Jesus fucking Christ. The thing is that doesn't seem like too far off from something that would happen in there based off the footage that I saw in the documentary.
At least I could imagine that, like, maybe not the real thing, but simulated for sure.
Yeah. God, it's fucked up. It's insane. The only other thing that I watched myself this week was Hellraiser, also on Shudder. Just a fun afternoon watch for me.
Damn, we keep plugging the hell out of this podcast or this. They should Hey Shudder. Hey y'all,
sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Hellraiser. This is the first time I've ever seen this movie. Is way more fucked up than I was anticipating. For some reason, I went into this expecting it to be like kind of hokey and kind of silly. I didn't realize the status of the movie was based off of like how genuinely disgusting and disturbing this movie is. Yeah. But yeah, this movie's fucked up.
Yeah. It's pretty fucking gross, but it's like good gross. But
yeah,
it's gross.
I loved it. It was great, but it made me feel bad.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's just very disturbing.
And what's weird is that it's kind of like a soap opera.
Yeah,
and like just like this dysfunctional family soap opera, but it's just disturbing as fuck and gross as hell. The gore effects in this movie are insane. Like, they are out of this world disgusting and insane, and I couldn't believe it. And then that, along with like the really like extreme violence in this movie, along with how weirdly sexual a lot of the movie is, just makes it really uncomfortable, but in a good way. It's a very weird watch. It's a very weird movie to watch by yourself or with anybody else. I was uncomfortable for a good majority of it.
It is, but it's good. I've only seen the first one. I haven't seen any of the other films in the franchise. However, now that you've seen the first one, do you not agree with me that Panos Cosmatos, director of Mandy, should helm a new Hellraiser if they make one?
He definitely should. I see what you mean by that. That'd be if he got his hands on a Hellraiser movie. That might be the most fucked up movie that we've gotten in a really long time. But yeah, this and the prosthetic work in this movie and all the makeup work, especially on what's his name? Is his name Frank? I think the one that comes back from the dead. I think his name's Frank. Yeah. He looks gross as hell, but he looks great. He looks fantastic. I don't know. I like this movie a lot, but I don't know if I could like watch it again soon.
I haven't seen it in a few years, so I honestly kind of feel like hearing you talk about it makes me feel due for a revisit, honestly.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this is one of those movies, like out of those older horror films that I've always wanted to see, but have actually been scared to watch. And I don't know what it is. It's just something about it doesn't sit right with me. And the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I guess.
Please watch it, Jay. I did not expect it to be so gross.
I have heard though that like from some point of view, are they called the Xenobites or the Cenobites?
The Cenobites. Yeah.
Cenobites.
Yeah.
That they're kind of like in the right in this movie or something. Like they're just trying to like protect their box.
I mean, honestly, yeah. That's really it. They really are just trying to get their puzzle box back. But it is to unsuspecting people that don't know what it is.
So it's just kind of unfair.
Yeah. The actual like mythology of it is not explained at all. You just get that this puzzle box brings these dudes and that they want it back, and that if you open this puzzle box they're going to come fucking get you. That's basically all you get out of the movie, which is enough. I don't think I need any more. And I'm wondering if the sequels delve into that a little more. And also, I assume they probably get a little less disturbing than what this is.
I've heard the drop off between like this one and its sequels is the most significant kind of drop off.
Yeah, I think I had heard that too, and I kind of just got the feeling that that's probably what would happen, because this is like a weird movie, and
yeah, there's no real fandom for anything past the original.
But there are a lot of Hellraiser movies. I'm realizing
there's a lot.
What is there? 6? Are there 6 of them?
There's got to be more than that. Hold up, I count on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 Hellraiser films.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I might try and start to see the second one and the third one and see how it progresses from there. I don't know.
They're also on Shudder and Netflix. So
all of them?
Oh, Hellraiser 2 is, and Hellraiser 1 and 2 are. 3 is not anywhere.
Okay, I'll watch 2 then. I don't know if I doubt I would ever get through all 10 movies probably. But I am interested to see what the follow-up to this would be.
Another film that I'm really interested to see the follow-up to is one of the films that I saw this week, First Man.
First Man!
I wonder what happens after we get to the moon. Been wondering.
I'm really lost on this bit.
It's not a bit. I just wanted to talk about First Man real quick. Because I was getting spooked out by Hellraiser. But yeah, and y'all talked about First Man already. I just wanted to say that I really liked the movie. I really love the idea that the moon mission is just like a backseat objective the entire time. It almost seems like there's the spectacle of it just kind of comes across and it's the most well shot. Like that's when the format changes. But outside of that, it doesn't even really feel like a triumph. It just kind of feels like he did it. And the triumph is more in that final shot, like you guys said. That the whole time I'm watching this movie, I'm just like rooting for Neil to break through. Just to find his peace and like fucking communicate with his wife.
He's a very quiet dude.
Yeah. I thought Gosling did a really great job of conveying that sort of restraint. Like, you can tell in his eyes that he's shut off and that a part of him is dead and he refuses to touch it. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's really interesting. It was affecting me. It had me like right there with him the whole time. Also, Buzz just really gets fucked over in this movie, man. Every time. Every single scene, he's just a big old dickhead.
Oh, by the way, Annie had listened to the last week's show, and she heard us questioning what we were like. Why did Neo get to walk on the moon first? And we were like, oh, I don't know. That's weird. And she was like, you fucking idiots. He was the commander of the mission. That's why. That's why he got to go first. I was like, damn. You're right. We are idiots.
I do. Oh, yeah, we're stupid. Well, you guys are stupid. I didn't know he was the commander of the mission. You guys had seen the movie. How'd you miss that? You also said Buzz isn't in it that often. He's in it quite a bit. And they say this is Buzz almost every single time he's in frame.
Yeah, but that's not that often.
He's in at least 15 minutes. Did y'all see Leon Bridges too? Leon Bridges is in this movie.
Where at?
He's the singer singing the But Whitey's on the Moon.
Oh.
That's Leon Bridges, y'all.
Yeah.
Good Texan boy.
Very interesting that this movie does not include the planting of the flag, but includes that scene. I think that's very brave of this movie, and I appreciate it.
Because it's not about American pride. It doesn't feel like that. I love that it just feels like it's a Neil movie and fuck the moon almost.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting decision. And I think it's the only reason this movie is probably worth seeing, because it does something different.
Yeah.
The original working title was Fuck the Moon. It was actually, no, it's a correction. Sorry. It was, the original working title of this movie was Fuck the Moon, astronauts in space.
Fuck the moon. Let's get to Neil.
I also love the way stuff in the cockpit is shot, in that it's so disorienting and so uncomfortable. And the sound of it all is very terrifying. At times, you'll just hear a random sound that isn't natural. And I just kind of love that whole vibe that's going on. So good job, Damien.
Those shots in the cockpits made me realize that the Mission Space ride at Disney World is very accurate. Have y'all ridden Mission Space?
I haven't been to Disney World.
Tyler.
I haven't been to Disney World. I've been to Disneyland a lot of times, but never been to Disney World.
Whoever's ridden Mission Space will understand what I'm talking about.
And the thing is, like, I don't care enough about Disney World to ever be like, you know what I'm going to do for vacation? Go to fucking Florida.
Honestly, I don't care to ever go back, really.
But I feel like I should, just to say I've done it, you know?
I would never go unless I have a child. I don't see a reason to go.
There's stuff to do as just an adult.
Like what?
Yeah, I feel like you have the opportunity. Honestly, I feel like if you want to really see everything, you might as well go as just an adult, you know?
Yeah.
If you want to see everything, you go on a band trip when you're old enough to just like fuck around.
Some of the rides are too intense for children.
I just want to see their joy when they see their favorite cartoon characters.
I don't give a fuck about my kid. I want to ride Space Mountain.
Space Mountain is fun.
Yeah.
That ride rips.
Fuck My Kids, also the original working title for First Man.
Fuck my kids. I believe it's Taylor's turn to talk about his movies. My singular movie that I saw this week, other than the one film that we all saw. The two films.
I saw
Zathura.
What? Including so we watched 2 movies on here this week. Anyways, boys, I saw The Fucking Night Comes for Us. It's actually called The Night Comes for Us.
Is this a movie also by someone from the Raid?
No fucking in this title. It features 2 cast members from the Raid as the 2 leads. The director. It's not the same director. It's not Gareth Evans.
I want to see this.
It is. So this director, I believe he also made this other film called Headshot. But yeah. So this movie is fucking insane. Like most violent movie of the year. Like no contest. Holy shit, this movie is violent. There's just so many ways you can break a body in this movie. It like really shows you all of them.
That's all I need to hear to be sold on this movie, honestly.
But is it good?
It is good. And here's the thing. So the plot in this movie is thin, like very thin. It's just, the lead of the film, played by Joe Taslim, who was also in the first Raid film, is a Triad gang member who escapes by killing other members and to save the life of a young girl. And then after that, he is basically on the run and trying to defend her and defend himself and those he knows and loves from different members of different gangs trying to raid and kill him. And kind of a bit of a turn of role here, Iko Uwais, who is in the first 2 Raid films, and he's also the protagonist in Headshot as well. He actually plays more of the villain role in this one versus the hero protagonist role. But yeah, so basically there's your plot. And honestly, that plot right there is just a way that you can string together sequence after sequence of fucking good old killing and just some good high octane, super kinetic, really fucking bloody action sequences.
So is it enough?
Enough of a plot?
Yeah, does the action with the really is it enough to carry the movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Good.
My only complaint is it is a little bit long. It's a 2-hour movie, so I feel at a point it is a little exhausting when there isn't a ton of meat to the story. So at a 2-hour runtime, it does get to be a little exhausting. And I think if it had been closer to like the 140 runtime of the Raid, it really would have been fucking incredible. And that kind of hurts it a little bit. But honestly, this movie, I honestly think you could just consider this like. This is an Indonesian action movie, but I really think you should consider this a fucking slasher movie with the level of creativity it implores in its killing.
Damn.
I mean, damn boys, you just never thought that there's many ways that you can break bones in a human body, but it explores every way that you can just fucking decimate somebody. But the thing is, like, it's also like it's incredibly well shot. Like the action is it's super kinetic, and the thing is, like, it's the camera is there's a lot of movement to the camera where not like super shaky, but the camera moves and flows with the action so well, and just like so interestingly follows like bodies as like they follow these quick switches as people are like reaching to grab things and like in combat, like the camera just really flows and like this like twisted ballet with the action. And it's like it's a movie that, like, if you're an action fan and you've seen these kind of movies and this is what you want, like it's gonna be really hard for this movie to really disappoint you. My only complaint, really, my biggest complaint is just that it's a bit long, and at a point it becomes a little bit exhausting. But it really is. If you have the stomach for like high levels of violence, this movie is just like, and really just Indonesian action cinema. It's just can't really be topped right now. It just really is operating on this like other echelon.
All right, you put this at the top of my list for this next week. I'm going to watch this.
It's good. I would have loved to have seen this. This world premiered at Fantastic Fest, and I would have loved to see this with a crowd. Because there were just various moments, even watching this by myself, where I was just like audibly gasping and like wincing. And
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall just to watch you. Oh God!
My word!
There's just a lot of ew.
That's someone's son.
Oh Lord, he coming.
It's good. You just should watch it. Wait, have you seen the Raid movies, Jay? You still haven't ever seen the Raids, have you?
No. I checked after I saw that this was out, and also with Apostle being out so close to it, I looked and they're not streaming anywhere, so I just haven't gotten to it. I need to. I know I need to.
I own both of the Raid movies on Blu-ray.
Well, add a way to brag.
Those are movies that I wanted to own.
Well, Taylor, then mail your copies to Jay so he can borrow them.
Okay, cool.
He'll never get them back.
Yeah, I won't. Therefore, I'll never mail them.
I'm not paying for shipping.
You know what? Actually, my Christmas gift to you, I'll just buy you the 2-pack Blu-ray copy of the Raid films. It's like $12 on Amazon.
I would love that, actually. I would love that very much.
Jay, what did you have of Taylor's that since like childhood that he never got back?
His Pokemon Yellow.
Oh, okay.
He's not getting that back. It's not until the day he gets married and I hand it to his wife and go, "This is yours now." It's gonna be a symbolic gesture. And it's going to be very fucking cute.
But the thing that doesn't negate is the theft, is the initial theft of my product.
It's the fucking thievery of it.
is the fact that you did steal a video game from me at our youth, and you refused to return. No, and you refused to return it. And it wasn't until like at least 10 years on that you're like, no, it's a symbolic gesture. I'm going to give it to you on your wedding day. It's all about the symbolism of our friendship.
I just haven't beaten it yet. Okay, shit.
Do you know where it is still?
Yeah, I've got it in like a little case of trinkets and stuff.
That's good. He hasn't lost it. So
I don't want to lose it. Else I got to buy him a new one. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but that's a lot more expensive these days.
Well, guys, that was the appetizer round. And now we're on to the entree portion.
Can I please start?
Wait, what is Zathura then?
That's the dessert.
That's the dessert.
Okay.
We're really here to talk about the return of Michael Myers.
Mike Myers is back. Yeah, baby.
In Wayne's World 3. Yowza. I don't know any catchphrases from Wayne's World. I've never seen it. Like, swing. Is that something?
Is that Wayne's World?
I don't know. I think it's Dana Gould.
Oh. Get Swifty. Is that Wayne's World?
I think it's Rick and Morty.
That's Rick and Morty, yeah.
No, that's also Rick and Morty.
Wubba lubba dub dub.
Also, my girlfriend does just casually call refer to Michael Myers as Mike Myers. Like when talking about him, the Michael Myers, the serial killer in the movies, she just says Mike Myers.
Well, when he showed up in the movie, I leaned over and I said, "Hey, that's Mike." He's back.
He's back, baby, in a big way, guys.
Oh, he's been he is huge, so big.
Just fucking huge. Anyway, Jay.
Just wait till you get a load of him. Like, fuck.
My fucking God, my man. Mike Myers is huge. Mike Myers? He's huge.
You know, the Austin Powers makeup did not age great, though. I will say, they insisted on using the same body makeup from the original film from the 90s.
Right.
Hasn't held super well with time.
Well, you can't even see his eyes. And it looks like he's holding a knife for some reason.
Also, I don't remember Austin Powers so blatantly murdering people.
That was a weird addition to the movie.
In fact, I don't even think those movies had anything to do with Halloween.
No. Well, I mean, it doesn't seem that weird to me that the new Austin Powers movie might just be Halloween themed, just to spice it up a little bit.
It's the spooky season, I get it.
But to make Mike Myers just this relentless, unforgiving, just serial killer, I just didn't understand the motivation.
Yeah, he's a lover, not a fighter. He doesn't want to kill. He just wants to shag, baby.
Let Mike Myers shag 2018. Come on, America. Why won't you let him shag, baby?
I'm crying. I'm crying.
Jay, did you like the new Austin Powers movie?
Yeah, baby.
Wow, he really finished out the bit with pride. That was a classic beginning, middle, end of a bit. That really had a distinct starting point, middle flow section, and then a great closing line.
It was a great 3-act gag, guys. We comedied well here. We've done it. We've achieved peak comedy. With no one can comedy anymore after this. We stole it.
We stole it. Oh my word. Okay, Jay, please share your thoughts on the newest Halloween movie.
I'm so glad this movie's as good as it is. Guys, I think this is quite possibly the best thing that could have come from it. What I still think is probably an unwarranted sequel. I think any sequel to the original is unnecessary. But the focus on the trauma, the focus on that relationship, and just what it does to family ties and those around us, it made it feel as necessary as it possibly could. It does an excellent job of doing these subtle throwbacks to various aspects of even the lesser entries in the franchise. It's funny. It had me scanning the screen again. And I know you guys hate when I do this, but I do have to mention it follows at least once. It feels like almost a pairing for me, whereas It Follows is about the like loss of innocence and coming to terms with that, whereas this is more of that effect of what comes next after you've lost that and have to deal with that trauma. I'm just really stoked on it, and I really want to see it again. It's excellent.
I mean, just saying, if you want to perfectly pair the 2018 Halloween with a film that's probably also about the loss of innocence, might I suggest you check out 1978's Halloween.
Suck my ass.
It's kind of weird that the direct sequel to Halloween is called Halloween.
I thought about that too this week. I was like, oh, well, I guess Rambo did that, but no, it's First Blood.
Yeah, this is just Halloween. Halloween and its sequel, Halloween. Yeah. I enjoyed this movie a lot. I think just to preface, I think I'm a little bit lighter on it than both Jay and Taylor. Mostly, I think this is a really fun movie. I think this is probably close to the best Halloween sequel we could possibly get. And I understand the criticism that this doesn't do that much new with the formula, and that it's kind of a little bit just Halloween again, just with some new elements. But I think this really gets right, just like the simplicity of the first one, and kind of that the first one has like this weird magic to it, and it doesn't feel like any other movie. And I think this movie captures that in its best scenes perfectly. And it made me really happy for a good portion of the movie. I was so happy with a lot of this. I do have a couple problems, but I want to hear what Taylor thought of his rewatch.
Yeah, so I rewatched it last night. Obviously, I got to see this at when it world premiered in Toronto, and obviously that was like a little bit like that's a wholly different kind of screening experience than just seeing it in a regular theater, because there's all this excitement of, oh, this is this first film, this many years, like this direct sequel. You kind of get an audience of like really big, like really true fans here who are seeing it, and so like for that, like that was like a pretty wild experience. Like seeing that, like the audience was fucking losing their shit with every like major callback and throwback, and it was just such a communal experience just to watch that movie, and it was so awesome. Last night, I got to see it again in a standard theater, or rather, it's like a regular movie-going audience, and it still was really satisfying. And it still holds up on the rewatch, even, despite that. And the audience I saw it with was really into it as well. I agree with Trace and understand the complaints of, that it really doesn't. It is a retread. It doesn't really do anything fresh with the formula. It basically just kind of takes the formula and just kind of repurposes it with a bit of a modern sheen. And I mean, even like I think what I initially said in like my first Letterboxd like review on it was just like Halloween, The Force Awakens, meaning that like the Star Wars, The Force Awakens, basically, which is another movie that I love, basically repurposed A New Hope for a new generation, and that's kind of what this does. And frankly, for me, for this installment, that is perfectly fine. I needed, you kind of need one of those, a movie like this, like a bit of a palate cleanser after, like, when you think about the fact that the last Halloween films we got with the two Rob Zombie movies, it leaves you a bit to be like, ooh, I need this palate cleanser of this movie that effectively just reminds me what it is about the original film that I love. It's like why I love it. And it really does get back to that essence of Michael just being this pure fucking embodiment of evil who you see in one, like, expertly crafted sequence. This really amazingly done, like, long tracking shot where, and I guess should we put a preface of, like, we might delve into spoilers?
As of right now, spoilers are free. Jump to the second segment if you haven't seen the film or don't want to hear spoilers.
Yeah, so let's just Just go and throw a spoiler tag up there. But anyways, during an expertly crafted tracking shot where we just get to see Michael just walking in random houses and just fucking slaughtering people. Mm-hmm. And you just get back to this pure like, oh, there's no like real rhyme or reason for him to this. He's not explicitly targeting or chasing someone. There's these people that are in his line of sight effectively. And so it just gets back to that. He is pure evil. There's no, family relation here. There's no major drive. He is just killing to kill. And it really, and it makes Michael scary again, which is interesting because it both makes Michael scary again. You kind of, I feel like Jay said, you get that sense of like, ooh, I'm standing in the frame to see where he is. That being said, I don't know that I would say that the movie is really that scary overall. Like, aside from, like, you feel the presence of Michael. I think there's only one real sequence in the movie at the end that's genuinely tense. Like, for even that, like, that tracking shot sequence is more like, I'm less tense and I'm more just like, damn, like, this is well done. And like, damn, Michael is just fucking slaughtering people. I think the movie, yeah, I don't know that I would say it's wholly that scary, but it's really satisfying and really entertaining.
Well, I think I love that shot. I love that sequence because it was like calling back to even the second film because that lady he kills is like the same lady he kills at the beginning of the second movie. Speaking on the disconnect of this film being a direct sequel to the first, it took me a second to get used to that because I'm so ingrained with the mythos of all the other movies that I had to remember that, oh yeah, they're not related. This is all random. He's just doing it to do it. I think the film also does a good job of instilling this sense of dread and randomness by killing a kid at the beginning and showing that we could do whatever we want. This is just, he has no rhyme or reason. He has no rules. And so it does, during that tracking shot, an excellent job of presenting that crying baby and just being like, I legitimately thought if this movie does this, I'm not sure I really want to sit through it. I can't do this right now. Like, I do not want to see this.
And I don't think the movie would have ever intended to do that, but it does create a brief sense of like, oh shit, he might.
Which is all the movie needs to do, I think, is to, oh shit, he might. Oh shit, the movie might do this. Which I think ultimately, I don't think the movie needs to be scary necessarily. I understand why someone would think it needs to be, but I think the movie achieves what it's trying to do, just like the original set out to unsettle people by introducing this new idea. Well, this idea cannot be new again. I don't really think there's a possible way to reshape it to where it can even hit that point of revelation like the original did. So the best that this movie can do is to try and wrap up this story in a new story it's trying to tell about trauma. And I think ultimately it does that, but maybe it is, again, its objective isn't lofty enough like A Force Awakens.
I just wanted to mention, we were talking about the other Halloween entries. I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Mike McCabe, I just wanted to read his a part of his Letterboxd entry for this movie because I think it's funny. Shout out to Mike, I love him. He's great. It says, probably the second best movie in the series. No surprise because once again, these movies are mostly bad. Like, I can't imagine why anyone would be like, don't mess up this beloved franchise, when for the most part, there's only one actual good one before this movie. Which I realized is kind of true.
I genuinely like Halloween 2. I genuinely like that movie.
Halloween 2 is fine, but like,
I've seen it enough times now. I've seen it like at least 3 times that I genuinely like the movie.
Okay.
Oh wait, are you talking Rob Zombie's Halloween 2?
No, the Rick Rosenthal 1981 Halloween 2.
I like the first 4 entries. Legitimately like the first 4 entries, all for different reasons.
I like and obviously the third is likable for what it is, but it's.
Oh, I love Season of the Witch. That's a great movie. I've also seen a lot of people that I follow on Letterboxd kind of going back and rewatching Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is the only one I haven't seen, and people have been saying it's actually good.
Yeah, it revisits it. It does what this one kind of does, just not as good, and with that Rob Zombie grossness.
Yeah, That's another thing to get to.
I defend those zombie movies. I think they're fine for what they are.
Here's the thing, and this is still, it baffles me. This really baffles me, and I just can't fully understand it. I think the theatrical cut of Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, is literally one of the worst movies I've ever watched. It is, like, appallingly terrible. But...
Interesting.
But the director's cut, I've seen the director's cut, or I watched the director's cut when we did, like, a special Halloween episode for our old website, and I found myself being immensely frustrated by it, as I expected, but not hating it. I could appreciate more of the vision because I actually think he had more room to like grow it.
Interesting. It's on Showtime, so I might watch it.
That's why I still attest that the one I don't want to ever really revisit that often is 5. Because it's the only one that I can't really say anything about, that it's not interesting enough in either direction.
I can't say I ever want to rewatch 6, the Paul Rudd one.
I think it's fun to talk about just for how dumb it gets. And I think it's like, if I tell people in the order of, you should probably watch this movie, I will say watch 6 over watch 5. Because there's nothing to gain from 5.
And then,
That's my argument.
I guess that's true. 5 is pretty much a throwaway. 4 at least has a pretty like distinct ending that really sticks out with you.
It's such a good ending. And I love it, actually.
Honestly don't remember anything about H2O.
I'm sorry. Can y'all remind me the ending of 4 again?
It's when his niece, and I thought it was a reference in this. I thought they were doing that in this movie, and it kind of a couple bugaboos with this movie. I'll go into. She touches him after they like kill him, and like everything's fine, and then it does a recreation of the very first scene of the first movie. And she kills her babysitter.
Oh.
And then it just ends with Loomis losing his mind at the bottom of the stairs, and just a shot of Jamie at the top of the stairs in a clown costume with like bloody scissors.
I remember this.
Pretty great.
Yeah, I remember this.
It's a good ending.
Yeah.
Oh, but I do want to just talk about some of the bad stuff, because I recognize, and Trace can probably lead off more because he has more qualms with it.
Well, wait, before we hop on the bad. I did want to talk about, and I was gonna briefly talk about this when we were talking on the Rob Zombie stuff. But Michael's brutal in this movie.
Yes,
Michael's pretty fucking brutal in this thing. Like the brutality of this surprised me.
I don't think it surprised me necessarily.
Not in a bad way.
No, yeah, I think it's keeps in line with the times, because I think the Michael of the 1978 film, what he does could be that bloody, but because of the time, it's just not something that they did to show. Like it seems like his intentions are the same as this Michael's intentions, just the way time has progressed, you need to up it to keep people interested. Because even the body count's 17, I think, people? Something around 15.
Yeah,
which is pretty high for a slasher.
There's a ton of people dead in this movie.
That's a very high count for a slasher. But the thing about the violence in this movie to me, and why it is still fun, is that the movie it never enters this echelon of like, it's not that Rob Zombie uncomfortableness of like holding on the violence and dragging out the violence and really making you like live with the violence of it. Like it's kind of all in the spirit of like fun, I would say, and it's all quick.
Yeah,
like it's brutal, but it's fast.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Because I like it. I just want to highlight, damn, like Michael is pretty fucking brutal in this movie.
There's some pretty striking shots of some dead folk in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess if we're dipping our toes into qualms about the movie, Jay mentioned briefly that it's funny.
Not laugh out loud funny, but like...
Well, no, that's what I mean, is like, it is funny. Do we like that it's funny? I can't tell if I like that it's funny.
Okay, and I feel like that's one of those like, ooh, you can tell like Danny McBride wrote this movie.
Could definitely tell what scenes were written by Danny McBride.
Yeah, you can feel it. You really can, especially with the young kid.
Which I actually liked him.
I
liked the little kid.
I like it. I like it. I just think it's evident, and because it is this movie, it does stick out.
Yeah.
I enjoyed I enjoyed the humor to it. Some of it maybe it was like there are elements to that are probably a little, maybe not so much the humor, but I will get into like I guess my small qualms with it in a bit too. But yeah, I don't mind that it has a lighter sense of tone, that it's funnier, but you notice it. It does stick out.
I don't think I noticed it much. I didn't notice, oh, this movie's really funny until the end. Where I laughed more than I expected. But again, I didn't need this movie to be scary.
Mm-hmm.
I just needed it to be good.
Yeah.
I didn't need it to be scary, but I thought there were a couple scenes where the comedy undercuts the tension a little bit. And so I was just a little bit conflicted about it.
Like what? Name a scene.
Mostly the kid. That's the kid. That's the one I'm thinking of. Because he's literally just kind of cracking. He's not cracking jokes, but he's being very comical. And it's a very intense scene where like Michael Myers is literally in the fucking room. Yeah. And so I'm conflicted on it because I was laughing. The kid's funny, and like what he says is funny, and the way he delivers it is very funny. But I'm also like, well, damn, like this is supposed to be kind of tension fuel, I feel like. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I just felt kind of conflicted about that.
I think it adds to, for me at least, it added to the tension in the sense that this is someone I care about a little bit. Like the kid is charming, and that feels like what he's there to do is be charming and to get you to like him so that you're terrified that Michael's going to get him. And I think it goes back to the fact that a kid dies at the beginning of this movie. And so it set that expectation that, I mean, they might do it. This person, they're kind of having this girl, she doesn't even seem deserving of anything. They seem to kind of try and push it a little bit. So you feel like, oh, we're going to go with that trope. But that entire sequence seems to kind of build a good relationship between the pair that you feel bad that this is going to happen, which adds to the randomness of it. And I kind of liked that.
No, I see the argument there. Also, to briefly go back on the violence for a sec, the sound design of this movie is very well done.
Yeah, it is.
Like, because I was thinking about the kill of the babysitter Vicky, and like, you don't actually see anything.
No,
but you hear it.
Yeah, and I love that. God, I love that shot afterwards when he kills the kid from Blockers, and
he's destined to be that kid from Blockers.
The kid from Blockers,
yeah, and he's hung up on the wall.
Again, the movie doesn't have a thirst for the blood. It just kind of does it. So, and I loved that we just come across the kid. It doesn't need to show you what happens. That whole sequence, it just skips it. And it's like, yeah, it happened. Duh. And then keeps going. I love that.
Yeah. But kind of getting to like my real main problem with the movie is that trying to make like a thematically and narratively satisfying, conclusive sequel to a movie with a 40-year legacy that's so revered kind of seems impossible. And
some might dare say it is.
I think it is a little bit, because really what I got when this movie cut to the final title card, I kind of shrugged my shoulders. I went, okay, that was fun. I had fun. The final sequence and then the abruptness of the final cut left me wanting just a little bit more, I think. I like the final sequence. I think it's cool. I think it has a lot of tension to it. But it felt weirdly anticlimactic to me, which is, I mean, I don't know why. I'm not sure. I can't quite put my finger on why that is. But I can't help the fact that I did feel that way. And I also feel like the trauma elements really aren't there enough in the movie for me to feel like it was a super important element to the movie.
Well, I think that inherently kind of a problem of that lies with just what the movie is. So it's like, at the core, it's like, it can be an exercise in looking at trauma, but it's tough for it to be a full-blown meditation on it because it's also a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
So it can't not be a slasher.
It is difficult, and I see that.
So it feel like that was always going to be a tough thing to find a balance on. Because I feel like you could just devote a movie to like the exploration of like Laurie Strode's trauma.
Yeah. But like weirdly enough, because I felt like I almost felt like I didn't get enough from Laurie Strode as a character in this movie. Jamie Lee Curtis is very good, don't get me wrong. And I think she's super great in this movie. But because of that, weirdly enough, I almost wish this focused more on the kids, the teenagers, because I liked those characters a lot. I thought all the teenagers in this movie were very good and were very charming. And I was way more into the scenes with them than I was with Laurie, which I found rather strange.
I'm actually on the opposite end. I do believe that they did fine. But when it comes to my problems with the movie, I think a little too much time is devoted to the granddaughter. There's a lot of times where it's shot more from her point of view than it is from Laurie's. And I think it cloudies the point of the movie and keeps me from getting what I wanted.
Right.
I foresee, and based off, because I didn't stay until the end of the credits, I heard that there's Michael breathing noises, and this movie made a lot of money off a small budget, so it's probably going to get some sequels, and I'm sure we're going to get enough time with the granddaughter in some sequels. So, like, I didn't feel the need for her to be in it as much. Like, there's a scene with her at a dance party, and, like, her thinking her phone getting thrown in custard breaks her phone. I just thought, during that scene, I thought, oh, spending a little too much time here. I don't really care about your relationship woes.
See, yeah, I'm the opposite. I was just really.
It's good stuff. It's just
I just really liked all the teenagers for some reason. Like I thought
they do a good job.
Yeah, I really liked the version of this movie that was, because like when Mike was like stalking the teen, just Mike was just stalking.
Oh, Mike.
When he was just stalking the teens, I was like, oh well, like this is kind of like on the nose, like a new Halloween for a new generation. Like this is just the same shit, just a new generation of kids. And I liked it when it was that movie. By the way, I thought this movie was a little too on the nose in one particular scene where Jamie Lee Curtis says, "Oh, you're the new Loomis."
I love that. I thought it was funny.
I mean, well, here's the thing. So I like that scene, but I think that the new Loomis character whole subplot is just like a bit of a waste of time.
He's my problem.
That's okay. Yeah,
that's kind of my biggest problem with the movie. It's just like that whole subplot is pretty pointless.
Yeah, that was my other big problem with it, was his character and just the subplot that happened with him. Because when it happened, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then nothing happens with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't go anywhere.
I actually thought when it happened, like when he does the betrayal, I thought it was just kind of a callback to 4. One, they run over Mike without checking who it is, which is a callback to the second movie when they kill a kid. And I thought that's what was going to happen again. And then when he touches Mike and kills someone, I thought it was like a reference to 4, like he passes on some sort of evil thing. And then when he's just like, I just want to see what happens. I was like, what the fuck? Why? You mean you just want to move the plot along? Just say that.
Yeah.
You want to get Michael to the cabin. That's fine.
That's okay. Just say it.
That was my biggest problem with the movie, is that sequence.
Yeah.
Also, a thing that I know, well, I've noticed the first time, but I really noticed it last night when I saw it again. With all the, and I'm actually like, I like most of the callbacks in the movie, like most of the like a little bit wink wink nudge nudge fan service moments, including like the bit of the reversal near the end where Laurie gets thrown off and then she's the one who disappears from the ground. Like that was one.
Cool.
That was fun.
No, that one fucking killed it at that premiere screen. Like, holy shit, the cheering at that moment was just intense. And this next one also got a lot of that, but I still don't really care for it that much, which is Laurie Strode randomly appearing from the shadow.
Saying Happy Halloween.
I just think it looks
I wish he didn't say anything.
It also just really looks cheesy to me.
It looked weird.
Like, just like that moment in Halloween 1 is fucking like terrifying. Where you just see him come out of darkness. Like, that is just...
To this day, last year, I saw it in LA with Taylor. And to this, just the slow creep of him coming up is one of the best shots in all of cinematic history to me.
Yeah, like, that shot is so effective. And I just think the callback they used here just really was so... that was one of those undercut the tension moments, you know?
I think that's one of those that doesn't play as well after repeat viewings. Because in my initial viewing, and I've thought about it more, and I thought... when I really let the image sit in my brain, it seems more like a iPhone studio lighting kind of stage. Like it's
Yeah.
just a spotlight on her rather than her creeping up. But I think in the quick pace of it, of Judy Greer having that kick-ass moment, I love that moment.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
incredible.
quick cuts to the thing, and then it keeps moving.
Yeah.
I think it happens fast enough that it doesn't pull me away during the initial screening. But I know multiple viewings is going to bother me more and more.
Yeah, because it is. Just, it didn't bother me as much the first time. So I was like, okay, that's probably a little too.
You're riding off the high of that Judy Greer moment, finally getting her due.
Exactly. No, that and just like and when like that happened, like when you see her just reappear from the shadows, like that, people were cheering so much that you couldn't even hear her line. I didn't even hear her say "Happy Halloween, Michael," like until this viewing. And so it's a wholly different experience. But yeah, but you're writing off those two really good moments, and that one to me was just like I don't know. I just thought that one of all the I was pretty cool. I liked most of the callbacks, but I thought that one was too much.
I think most of the other ones aren't as obvious. And
Yeah.
that's what I like.
Yeah.
I like that if you haven't seen any but the original, it'll just seem like it's part of the movie.
Yeah. I was really quite a big fan of the dad in this movie too.
I love the dad. I thought he was great.
I like the dad a lot.
I love how they just leave him dead in the closet. Lori doesn't say anything. She's like, let's leave. It's great.
Did y'all like the podcaster characters?
I think they
Served their narrative purpose.
They
That's
served
mostly
their
how I
narrative
feel. Yeah. I understand why they were there.
I hated, like, when I watched it, I was like, I don't like him screaming and then cut to Halloween. But on me just thinking on it, it's kind of reverse of the Happy Halloween thing. It seems sort of like B movie-esque, and I'm starting to like it a little more in my brain. Just the fact that he screams at him and
Yeah.
it gets super ridiculous and then cuts to Halloween.
I thought that was a pretty cool cut.
Yeah, I like the opening sequence.
But yeah, on the whole, those characters really felt like, oh, I understand why these characters exist.
We just need the mask to be somewhere.
Yeah, I get the point. And in that sense, I really felt kind of like the structure of the movie kind of showing through. But yeah, I mean, on the whole, I think like I said, the movie does capture the sense of the first movie in a way that I did not expect it to. And I was really happy with it for a lot of it, and I think like you get everything you want out of this movie, really. Like you really do.
That's all I needed.
Yeah. And so yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's good.
Well, I guess we got to talk about Zathura now, huh?
I guess that's it on this Halloween episode featuring Zathura.
I guess this is our Halloween episode.
Hey, we made one after all.
Yeah.
There you go.
Happy Halloween, everybody. And as a bonus, let's talk some Zathura.
Now you boys ready to get your astro nuts off?
Oh, I am.
Lisa, I need you to look after your two favorite people in the whole world.
You're dead! I'm sorry.
Keep your eye on them, make sure they don't burn down the house.
Dad, okay? Danny! Where are you? Zathura. Will you play with me? Read this for me. Meteor shower. It says thank you, base. It's meteors! Take erasive action!
And welcome back for our little post-credit special where we're going to try to talk about Zathura long enough for this to be considered a second half of the show.
So like 15 minutes minimum, really.
We're going to really be pushing it. Probably have a lot of Jumanji talk, if we're being honest. So let's just kind of jump right into it. Trace, what the fuck is this movie about?
So Zathura, I mean, the very basic plot is that this is space Jumanji, to be totally honest with you. But to get a little deeper into it, this is Josh Hutcherson, who plays Walter, and Jonah Bobo, who plays Danny. And they are two bickering brothers who can't get along, and they're at their dad's house, who's played by Tim Robbins on the weekend, and he leaves for a little while.
Wait.
Phrasing.
Who's played by
And the actor, the actor playing their dad also is Tim Robbins on the weekend.
No, it's the there's two actors actually playing this, and the only way the only time it's Tim Robbins is when they shot on the weekend.
You knew they were shooting on the weekends when you see Tim Robbins.
They could only get Tim Robbins for Saturdays and
I
Sundays.
really like that there's this actor playing their dad in Zathura, but on the weekends he was also a Tim Robbins character impersonator.
I like that Tim Robbins probably spent a day on this set for how much he's in this movie. But these two bickering brothers are left alone for a little bit. And while alone, Danny, the little one, finds a board game called Zathura. And they start playing it. And wouldn't you know it, the game is real. And it sends them into outer space. And along for the ride are a couple of friends, like Kristen Stewart and also Dax Shepard.
Kristen Stewart being their sister.
Yes, Kristen Stewart is their sister, and Dax Shepard is an astronaut. And yeah, that's the basic premise of Zathura, a space adventure.
Before we dive into the thoughts about this movie, y'all think it's weird that Josh Hutcherson is a kid whose name is Walter? That seems like such a weird kid's name.
I mean, you could call him Wally.
You really?
Yeah,
You would do that. You would punish your son to be called Wally.
Well, it's better than calling him Walter as a
guess.
7-year-old.
I guess so.
Annie, my girlfriend, pointed that out. She was like, Walter. And I was like, what? And she was like, who the fuck names their kid Walter?
Someone who wants to call their kid Wally growing up.
Oh, Wally. Had either of you seen this movie before?
Yes.
I'd seen Jumanji and its sequel.
Okay, so no.
I've also
basically.
I've also seen. I didn't see the new Jumanji, but
You haven't? Taylor, it's good.
I almost watched it on a plane one time because it really struck me as a perfect plane movie.
Ooh, it's
It
probably
is.
really good.
There's even sometimes where I see movies, like I see trailers for movies, I'm like, I don't really have an urge to see that in the theater at all, but I know I'm gonna watch that on a plane one day.
The only time I will consider seeing this movie is when I'm trapped in a death tube flying 500 miles per hour through the air.
Yeah, that's
Seated next to an old lady who's also watching episodes of Big Bang Theory.
yeah, exactly. And also, you know who'll hit the spot real nice right now? Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Kevin Hart and Jack Black. Honestly, I do need to see the movie because I've heard it's quite enjoyable.
I saw it twice in theaters.
Oh my god. You madman.
No, but no, I hadn't seen this movie.
Follow-up question to have you guys seen this movie. Did y'all realize this was on Prime, or did y'all rent it?
It was.
I know, I realized I realized it was on Prime, and also it actually is leaving Prime on November 1st, so great timing.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Did you rent it?
No, I thought it was on Prime, but I didn't know if you guys realized or not.
Oh.
Oh, I make sure to double check before I do anything.
Yeah, actually, before we decide on these movies, I always double check where they're available. Because I gotta really want to watch it if I'm gonna pay for it.
Or also because we made it until like a Monday before someone goes, "Hey, you can't buy Mac and Me anywhere."
We've also discovered that you can't actually rent certain movies anywhere.
I think I want to hear Jay's thoughts on this movie first.
I love movies like this. I think this movie's really fun. It's
I love this movie.
no, like
I love movies that really try to do stuff like this one tries to do.
So I love this and Jumanji.
Jay, what are your thoughts on this movie? Boy, howdy, do I love Jumanji.
Boy, howdy, do I love Jumanji and its sequel enough to like this movie too. No, I really do. I was halfway through this movie and I just thought, I'm glad movies like this exist. Like, these are quality, fun kid romps. Mm-hmm. And they're like right up my alley where there's a clear objective where it's kind of almost a bottle episode too. It's just you hit your 90-minute mark and we'll be done. But we're going to do some random stuff that are essentially levels in a video game while you watch. And I kind of like that.
Yeah. This was like one of my favorite movies growing up, actually. I've seen this movie a ton. I've seen this movie a whole bunch.
I can see why.
Yeah,
I understand it.
This is a great fucking kids movie. And like, obviously the target audience is more for kids, but I think there's plenty in here for just a regular old 21-year-old adult like myself to enjoy out of it. Like this has lots of cool stuff in it. I mean, I think the two kids are actually really good. I mean, the two kids as if we don't know who Josh Hutcherson is, but I mean,
hey, give Jonah Bobo his credit. He's in Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, he is, ain't he? Damn.
Yeah, he's pretty good in that.
Bobo getting that work. They're both really good. I mean, Kristen Stewart is fine in it. I'm on the Kristen Stewart train, but this movie, I guess, doesn't really have that much to do for her, honestly. I like Dax Shepard's character a lot in this movie, weirdly. And I just think this movie does a lot of cool stuff with the board game dynamic. And Jon Favreau actually kind of brings a lot of life to this movie. It feels legitimate. The main thing is that this movie actually looks really good. Is really like the first thing on my mind. Is that this feels and looks like a full-blown kid-oriented blockbuster movie. And I like it for that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I pretty much agree with the both of you here. Like, I think that, certainly for kids' movies, you can do far worse. But I think that this has enough, like, to enjoy for as an adult as well. Like, I enjoyed it watching it. Admittedly, this is kind of a perfect movie also to, like, sort of half watch while you're doing other stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's kind of how I rewatched it this time. But I remember I actually do liking this a decent amount when it came out. Which is funny because I think for you, Trace, since you're due to the slight age difference between us all, you being about like 4 years younger, I think that this movie was probably how for you like what Jumanji was for like Jay and I.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I actually remember like Jumanji, that movie scared the shit out of me when I first saw it.
Yeah, it scared me too. Because I saw that movie as a kid, like before I ever saw Zathura, and so like Jumanji's scary as shit.
Jumanji's also much meaner than this movie.
It definitely is. Yeah. It really is. This movie is a lot more lighthearted.
There is, like, you never really feel in this film, like, a genuine sense of peril for the kids.
Well, that being said, though, the kids are in genuine danger for a lot of it, which I appreciate. Like,
they're in more danger than I think sometimes in Jumanji.
Yeah.
Like, because they're trapped. In Jumanji, the danger gets out, so they can kind of get away if they wanted to. Whereas in this, when the first thing happens and the meteors start going, I was like, they're just dodging bullets. They're lucky the fireplace is there, because otherwise they're fucking dead.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there's like basically every instance in this is them like trying to avoid death, really. Like there's a killer robot, like Jay said, the meteor shower. The gravitational pull. There's one part where everyone gets sucked into a black hole. It's
Josh Hutcherson essentially does die in this movie.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's a lot of it's pretty intense for kids, I would say, especially because like as this movie came out when I was like 8, and I mean, like there were parts of this movie that kind of freaked me out a little bit as a kid. Namely, the Zorgons were a source of nightmares for me as an 8-year-old.
I think they're pretty. I thought when they showed up, I thought they were pretty well designed. They look a lot like, and I don't know if either of you have seen them. I think Taylor has, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. They actually look, no, not that movie. Jingle All the Way. I don't know why I got them confused. I was thinking about the pink like lion.
You talking about like the fucking Jingle All the Way, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad.
Hit.
Man, that movie
it's
was my fucking shit. I saw that movie so much when I was younger. That movie was my shit.
The movie still plays with Phil Hartman sexually eating cookies.
Oh my God.
It's very good. But it like the animatronics, because I'm assuming that's what it is. It has Frank Oz and everything.
Yeah, it looks like it.
The puppetry, if that's what it is, and I think it is.
I mean, they say Frank Oz won't sign onto a movie unless someone's a robot.
I think the movie, like Trey said, puts more effort into it than I think it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And it pays off. This movie is still a fun watch, even for like a 25-year-old at this point. I think it's still a lot of fun. And it kept me engaged for the full 1 hour and 40 minutes. So, pretty surprised by that, actually.
I mean, yeah,
Frank Oz was the robot, by the way.
Oh, who's the robot?
Yeah,
that's the weakest part to me. That's the part that feels the most childish.
Oh, damn! You know what we could have done? next week? We could have done Friday the 13th, the remake.
That's what I said.
Oh, yeah, you said that, but it would have been passed. I still would have done it.
Damn, that would have been a good one.
Should have done Predators.
That would have been a bad one.
That's a bad movie. We could have done Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
I've only seen the first movie.
We could
I
have
gotta
watched
see
all 18 parts of the new Twin Peaks.
Oh, shit. I'll rewatch that again. I just rewatched it over the summer, but boy, howdy, will I watch the entire thing again. I do agree with Jay that the robot is definitely the most childish seeming aspect of this movie, and it's mostly just because of the way the robot is designed. It just looks like a fucking cartoon, kind of. And
the way it moves is so, like, it comedically is set up to fly into walls.
Yeah.
Which is like, but that's sandwiched in between some more fun, more adventurous, more life-threatening objectives, and that's before Dax Shepard gets introduced. And I think that's when the movie really kind of flows a little bit better, because they have a more adult presence to kind of support the kids. I do think the kids are great, but if it was just them, it could get a little bit grating because they are bickering so much, whereas Dax Shepard provides the moral message. He's funny. I like Dax Shepard a lot ever since Employee of the Month. I think he's like a good, solid B player.
If Zach Braff and Owen Wilson fucked and made a kid, out would come Dax Shepard.
Wow. It's a great pairing.
It's not bad.
I also like Dax Shepard a lot. I think he's a really good presence in this movie. He just carries himself really well in the movie. Like he really brings a lot to it. Actually, he gets really into it. I like his character a lot. The twist with his character doesn't make sense, but I
did not remember such a fucking metaphysical sequence.
No, it's so fucking weird. It's so weird. And like I guess it makes sense just because all the rules of the game aren't explained clearly, so it could just be something that, like, there's another Josh Hutcherson that played the game at some time, but that would mean there's like multiple
universes.
Yeah, multiple universes.
Well, he did say he came out of a time asshole.
Yeah, he did. A time sphincter, he said.
Isn't that a butthole?
It's about yay big.
And then he makes a little butthole.
Well, yeah, that's what a sphincter is. Do you not know what a sphincter is?
Well, you have an oral and an anal sphincter.
I think the Dax Shepard twist thing with, fuck it, spoilers, where he's Walter grown up.
Look, I mean, here's the thing. I know that we blatantly said some Halloween spoilers, but like we gotta tiptoe around these hot Zathura spoilers. Sorry. Forgive me.
You fucker spoiled Zathura for me.
No, sorry. It's God-given name. Zathura, A Space Adventure.
That's such a bad subtitle. Like, we can tell from the poster, guys. No, but like, I can see how on paper that reads really well. And even when the movie's playing, it's like, oh, that's fun. But in execution, it doesn't make as much sense. Like Trace is saying, I don't get how is it him from the future? Is it him in an alternate timeline? And if it is any of those, is that related to the game?
I would assume that there's always this idea that a black hole, like the black holes can, like, I feel like black holes are used as a time travel device in a lot of narratives, right?
Okay.
I can imagine that maybe him traveling through the black hole is like a time travel back. Yeah. Yeah.
There's definitely.
I think the fact of the matter is, for that, in that regard, you kind of have to be like, oh yeah, this is a kid's movie, so it's probably just a very easily morally digestible, like digestible narrative beat and morality.
In that sense, though, it also takes away, like, it doesn't make any sense why he waits to say anything. If he tells them, it doesn't do anything.
Well, I feel like it also has to, they have to, like, he can't just, like, fucking show up and be like, I'm you from the future, Josh. Like, he has to, they have to, like, trust. It's a trust thing?
Yeah, but he could. I'm surprised he isn't like, yo, Bobo.
Yo, Bo.
You my bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't freak out when he sees his brother for the first time in 15 years. Unless he's played this game multiple times and Every single time Walter chooses to say fuck off to his little brother.
Man, that's a nightmare.
That is a fucking nightmare. Can you
Dax
imagine?
Shepard trapped in eternal Zathura hell.
That's actually very dark, that he wished away his brother and then it wasn't his turn, so he could not continue the game.
That's a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah. But when Josh Hutcherson gets that shooting star card, that's the moment where Dax Shepard should be like, yo, I'm fucking you. Don't wish your brother away. You're going to get fucking stuck here.
The way he leaves that up to chance is so wild to me.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
It also kind of weirded me out that, like, when his brother comes back, it's just a little version of his brother. Like, it's the same version of his little brother.
Yeah.
Because it made this disconnect. He's like, you're my brother. And then the kid doesn't reciprocate in any sort of way. It's like, what is the emotional levity of you're taking it away from me?
I don't know why that wouldn't have been just a grown-up version of him.
Oh, because he wished him away.
Yeah.
Right? But he wished him away, so like therefore his brother that he wished away wouldn't have been able to age.
What makes that brother different from the brother that's right there?
That's the thing. When he sees the new brother, he's like, Jonah Bobo, my brother. But they're the exact same.
Well,
like he goes up and embraces them like, oh, I missed you so much. But he's right there. They're the same person.
And an even weirder is when the two Bobos come to contact, that the other Bobo disappears and Dax Shepard's just like, well, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. What? Dax, why aren't you freaking out? Because you just lost him again.
Dax disappears. Dax needed it's the peace of mind.
So where does Dax go?
Into the void. I don't know.
Void?
It was about the, Dax he fulfilled his purpose. He brought the brothers together and made them love again. Versus wish him away and hate and get stuck in his eternal hell loop that he's destined to serve forever.
So
this movie's actually a spiritual sequel to Hellraiser.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, this is totally unrelated to Zathura, but I forgot to bring this up when we were talking Hellraiser. Y'all remember the Minion memes that were...
I wanted to say that. That's my only point of reference for Hellraiser is those Minion memes.
Those are fantastic.
I forgot to bring those up, but those were phenomenal.
I love those.
Trace, please use one as the image for this episode.
Okay, I will.
My favorite is do I look like does this look like the face of someone who gives a damn, or whatever it said?
No. Wait, hold up. You just keep talking about Zathura. I'm going to look these up.
Well, actually, I also forgot to bring something up in the first half. I've also been watching The Haunting of Hill House, which I won't talk about until I finish, but I just want to say is spooky.
I've only watched one episode, and so I aim to continue it.
My dad started the first episode, and after the first scene, he turned it off because he was like, this is too scary. I can't watch it.
I appreciate someone who understands their affinity for the spooks and goes, you know what? Not for me.
My dad does not like horror. He like, anytime I...
Taylor found it.
He's laughing his cute little butt off. Anytime I I recommend a horror movie to my dad, he's like, no, I'm not going to watch it. I'm too scared.
It does take a real man to go, nah, that's scary shit. I don't fuck with that.
I don't fuck with that. Also, Jay, you can leave this in. Can we have Flamingo by Cara Bonito as the closing song for today?
Does it relate to anything?
I saw Cara Bonito.
Okay.
And it's just a jam. It just
keep this in. We'll keep this in so that when it starts playing, people understand why we're playing this nonsense.
Well, I mean, it just has a good message. I mean, first of all, how many shrimp do you have to eat until your skin turns pink? And also, just be yourself. Just be who you are.
It says, do I look like someone who cares what God thinks? And it's fucking... I don't know, Bob from Bob. I haven't seen the Minions movies, but Bob, let's say, sticking his tongue out and making chicken wings. not like actual chicken wings, but like hands in his armpits, chicken wings.
He's making chicken wings. Oh man. But yeah, Zathura.
Speaking of wings, though.
Okay.
Y'all ever eaten buffalo wings and your entire body burst out into hives? Y'all ever done that?
I know that's an experience that out of the three of us, only 33.3% of us can relate to.
Yeah, and it's not fun. But I had Wingstop the other night because I like to live life on the edge. And it's pretty solid.
Pretty solid. They have this deal, or at least they did in Austin a couple of weeks ago, where you could get 25 boneless wings for $12.
God damn.
Wait, so also is that a thing like all the time, or is that like a select day deal?
I'm not sure. We got it on a Sunday.
Because
I think it was like a game day thing. I'm not sure.
Okay, because I saw an ad for it at the Wingstop I was recently at. And also, here you go, price hike. It was like $16 versus the 12. So you see how much I'm paying to live.
That's your choice, buddy.
$16 for 25 wings. Where do they even?
Where do they get off?
3 flavors too, which is bad math. That really bothered me. I'd much rather they have given me 24 so I could get an even 8. Like, where's that extra wing going?
Yeah,
So which sauce?
And also if you're splitting it between 2 people, then you each get 12, and already that's like basically a heart attack. So how dare you even try to add a fucking half of one in there?
I can't eat buffalo wings; they're too hot.
I can't eat them because my body just hates them.
Rejects it.
My body just hates them
like
a whole
virus.
lot.
No, not for you.
I did want to follow the Hellraiser thread that Taylor brought up, though, real quick before we close this out. The kid, like, these 2 kids just happen upon the game. And unlike in Jumanji, where it's, like, hidden way off, and it makes this weird thumping noise that any sane person would know, hey, I'm not going to fuck with this thing. It's making sounds. This is weird. But this game... It feels like just 2 people ran across their own puzzle box, and now the Zorgons are coming to take your puzzle box back. This is secretly a Hellraiser sequel, actually.
I mean, but that's not the goal of the Zorgons.
The 11th Hellraiser film, Zathura.
A space adventure.
You are grossly misinterpreting the actual objective of the Zorgons. They don't want the game.
They want meat.
Yeah, they just want meat, and they're attracted to gas and flames.
Did you guys know that we're meat?
We're meat.
that close up is great.
I actually really do love Jonah Bobo in this movie. He does a lot of fun, cute little kid facials.
He's a fine little boy.
both of you boys here.
No, like facial expressions. Well, we've hit 25 minutes. I think we all like Zathura, right?
That's our contractually obligated minimum time.
It's officially a second half.
I told Jon Favreau that we would talk for 25 minutes.
Look, when I talked to John before we did this app,
Chef himself,
Mr. Chef himself, Mr. Happy Hogan.
Is that his name in Spider-Man?
Or in like the Iron Man. I think it's Happy Hogan, right?
Happy
I was like,
Hogan.
I was like, man, I know you made a masterpiece here, but we just did 25 minutes, man. That's all we got. That's all we got for you.
That's all we got in us. There was another big release.
And
this week.
also, is Zathura a space adventure? Like, yeah, were you making a sequel to Hellraiser? Huh, John?
And he looked at me, and he put his stubby little finger over his pretty little lips, and he said, "Don't tell. Shh."
I mean, it's great of John that he did take time away from his busy schedule on The Lion King to come talk to your boys.
He's such a kind man. I felt his soul in the room while we were speaking, and it felt good.
It felt good.
So, yeah, Zathura, good movie.
Good movie. Taylor?
Good stuff, yeah.
Awesome.
Solid family fare. Oh,
We're all in it.
though. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're talking. Our link to Into the Wild was K-Stu. We didn't talk anything about K-Stu in this movie.
She's the worst part of this movie, guys. She's totally doing her Twilight bullshit. And I don't like it.
Yeah, the movie gives her no favors. She just like basically is frozen for most of it, and then she streams a little bit at the other, and then she briefly wants to have sex with her brother.
Oh yeah, she wants to fuck her brother. I forgot about that. Annie pointed out that when her actual brother gets older and he looks like that, she's gonna be like, "Oh no,
oh no!" How do I?
I want to fuck my brother.
Shit! Oh shit! I think I gotta fuck my brother.
He gets older and looks like that, and she's like, Why do you look like Dak Shepard now?
I thought you were gonna have a much funnier line after the amount of laughter you were building up to. I really thought you were gonna say something so much funnier than that.
Well, I guess we're all out of juice, boys. I'm at your buddy John on Twitter and Letterboxd. You guys?
At Taylor Dvorsky on both.
Trace of her.
And with that, as Trace suggested earlier, we're just going to go into Flamingo by Kira Kira Bonito and ponder the question, how many shrimp do you need to eat until you turn pink? We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Black, white, green or blue, show off your natural hue. Flamingo, oh, 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 oh. If you're multicolored, that's cool too. You don't need to change, it's boring being the same. Flamingo, oh, 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 oh. You're pretty either way. Flamingo.
Is that what Neil Armstrong did?
When he just started cranking it right on the moon's surface. The boy couldn't wait.